Hey guys, it's Cris here again from R&D Offroad. Today I'm going to take a look at two of the top 12-volt compressors and see who trumps who. Will it be the USA Design 440p or the Aussie-built ARB CKMP12 version 2? Over the past 25 years, I've used both Viair and ARB compressors extensively in all aspects of 4x4ing. In competitions, we were using these to inflate 37-inch tires and run air lockers, while overlanding it would be many pressure adjustments over thousands of kilometers. Over all these years, both these brands have served me flawless. So when choosing a compressor, we all have different things we look at. For me personally, I have three primary points that I consider when buying a compressor. The first thing is quick air up times, and that's probably my number one requirement, but this is directly coupled with the fact that I want a unit that is able to handle the hot temperatures of being mounted in an engine bay, and also it must be able to handle some abuse. I don't want to be inflating my mate's tires after mine and finding that the unit cuts out because I'm pushing the duty cycles a little too much. Right, it's unbox time. As per usual, ARB have come out with one of their traditional hard cases. A little more modern than the previous ones, but still great quality and very useful if you end up taking the compressor out and hard mounting it somewhere else. You've got an awesome little carry case. Inside the case, we have a 7-meter hose kit with a male and female connector on either end. The compressor itself is mounted in the box with a very nice stainless steel bracket, with a coupler and a great switch on there, all solidly mounted, and your usual 12-volt connection cable, an inline fuse, and a nice decent set of crocodile clips. So we don't have to worry about those. They're going to work real well. Next up, we've got the small accessory kit that generally comes with most compressors these days for inflating soccer balls and blowing off some dust in the car. And finally, ARB have launched a new valve coupler. It's still a straight coupler, which is not my favorite. I don't like the extra weight of the coupler and the hose when it hangs on the valve. I prefer a 90-degree coupler myself. But this new one looks really cool, and we'll test it a bit later and see how it performs. On the performance side of the compressor, let's look at airflow first. Firstly, we want to be looking at what this compressor can push while it's doing some work. And at 2 bar, the ARB specs say that this compressor will give us 61.6 liters per minute, which is really, really good. The maximum work pressure of this unit is 6.9 bars, and at 6.9 bars, it allows for a 50% duty cycle. Finally, the weight of the unit is 7 kilograms. So all in all, a really good kit. It's comprehensive, and it's going to work really well. Right, let's see what the Yanks have brought to the party. The Viair 440 comes in a canvas bag. It's a biggish bag, but that does mean that it gives you a little bit of extra space if you want to pop a tire repair kit in here as well. The compressor comes right out of the bag. The 12-volt cabling on the Viair is a slightly better finish than the ARB unit. The crocodile clamps are pretty similar, and it also comes with an inline fuse. The switch is on the back of the compressor, and looking at it, pretty much a great looking piece of kit. Next, we'll take a look at the inflation hose. The hose is the same length as the ARB, being 7 meters, coupler on the one end, and a nice thing on the Viair unit is it comes with a filler gauge and also an inline deflator, which is very useful. And as mentioned earlier with this unit, it comes with a 90-degree valve coupler, which I really like. So we'll test that in the field a little bit later. Also in the kit, we get a spare set of filters and the small accessory kit like we got with the ARB, and this has also got a Presta valve adapter on there for us as well. So that's pretty trick. When we look at the performance of the Viair compressor, it is slightly better than the ARB. The airflow at 2 bar for the Viair is 65.5 liters, and this unit has a maximum working pressure of 10.3 bar. Although the duty cycles are a little bit lower at 33%, it's still a much higher working pressure. And the unit weight comes in at 5.7 kilos. Next up, let's take a look at the pricing. Guys, please note, these prices quoted are in South African rands based from November 2024. The ARB unit comes in, as it stands, 12,581 Rand, including VAT. But in order to be apples and apples in our comparison, the ARB is going to need an analog filler gauge added to the product to weigh up with the Viair. And the filler gauge on the ARB side is going to cost 1,095 Rand, which gives us a total of 13,676 Rand, including VAT, for the full package. The Viair unit comes in at 11,395 Rand, including VAT. So now that we have the specs, we have their prices, let's head out into the field and put them to the test. We're not going to do the usual one-tire inflation trick, but instead we're going to take two vehicles and inflate 8 tires all in one go and see how long each of these units take to perform that task. Let's head out into the field and see what we can do.
Enough mumbo jumbo, it's time to make some hot air. We're here at 7x4x4 track, beautiful 7x4x4 track, and today we've brought along Johann's overlanding Hilux and my trail ready short wheelbase product. Both vehicles are running Maxxis Razor tires and they're both the same size. We're running 265 70 R17s. The plan today is to deflate all 8 tires to 0.8 bar, and then using each of the compressors, we're going to pump all 8 tires up, timing the first tire, the last tire, and all 8 tires. The idea is to check and see whether, over the duration of the 8 tires, either of these compressors, as they heat up, are going to start losing performance. Enough of the jabber, let's get down to making some hot air.
Okay guys, it's time to wrap up this shootout with a quick summary. I've looked at category 1 as being visual build quality of the 2 units. And after testing both in the field and getting a good feel for the weight of the unit, the sound of the motor and what they both look like, I feel the Viair seems to be a better built unit than the ARB. The ARB, however, comes with this very cool plastic case, as I mentioned earlier, which is definitely a plus. While the Viair's valve connector is better than the new ARB version. We tested this for the first time. It looks very nice, but we did struggle with it losing air where it connected to the current hose setup. So that to me was a bit of a downer. Otherwise, both units fantastic quality as we know, but I definitely believe the Viair did pip the ARB in this category. In category 2, we had another look at the airflow and the max working pressure of both these units. As mentioned before, the Viair compressor does pump faster than the ARB at 2 bar, and we're looking at about 6%. So at 2 bar, it's a minimal difference between the two. However, if we look at the max working pressure of both units, the Viair takes the cake again by being able to run at 10.3 bar, while the ARB only 6.9. So I believe that this will definitely add to the longevity of the compressor, as very few of us will ever be using the Viair at 10.3 bar. So I'm afraid again, the Viair trumps the ARB. Next up, we have category 3, the Shootout. Here we took the ARB compressor and used it with their new straight connector, followed by the Viair with its standard 90-degree valve connector. While using these two units with their straight and 90-degree connector, we had to check the air pressure as we went along with a manual gauge. And after that, we did a third and final test using the ARB compressor with a manual filler gauge, which was definitely a little bit quicker as we weren't having to take the valve connector off all the time and check the pressure. Looking at these figures, we can see that both units did very well over the full 8 tires, with almost zero drop-off on tire 8. However, when it comes to the inflation speed, Viair wins the race by 15%. So guys, in conclusion, in my humble opinion, the Viair 440p trumps the ARB. I really hope you guys have found this video informative and enjoyed it. And if you have any further questions, please reach out to us on our website at www.rndoffroad.com. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Cheers.